Hello, and welcome to Socially Holistic Podcast. Socially Holistic helps coaches and holistic entrepreneurs and women in heart-centered businesses make sense of social media so they can build their own online network and get more clients. As a heart-centered business owner, you do amazing work. Holly's mission in life is to help you help more people. Help us help more women in business with a 5-star review of this podcast. Please leave one today over at iTunes. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more heart-centered businesses will be successful. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Socially Holistic Podcast, episode 65. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm here with today's very special guest, Shae Baxter. Shae is an SEO rock star, and today she's going to talk with us about how to make Google fall in love with your website or blog. Welcome, Shae.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you today.
I'm excited to be here.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this whole SEO thing?
Sure. So my work background, actually, I started off in recruitment and employment consultancy, and I landed a traineeship out of university. But to be honest with you, I was never really career driven. When I was younger, I never really had the aspiration to climb the corporate ladder. And quite honestly, I ended up being in quite unfulfilling roles and certainly in roles that, I was punching way below my weight. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it never occurred to me that I'll ever would have the inclination to start a business or, becoming an entrepreneur either. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I'm mainly in recruitment. I actually worked in the UK for a couple of years for a company called Hudson, and I ended up working in Scotland as well. And then, I think it was about 5 years ago now, I started a personal blog just on WordPress.com. Mm-hmm. And I was just blogging about my musings and thoughts, about thoughts in life in general and all that. And I actually fell in love with blogging, and I thought this is perfect for me because I'm a classic introvert. Mm-hmm. And I thought this is perfect for my personality. So, and this is when I really opened up and discovered this online world that we all know about today. And also at the time I was searching because I'd not long come out of a relationship that was pretty bad, and also I was really unhappy in my job at the time too, and I wanted to learn some online skills because my day job didn't really allow me the opportunity to, utilize any of those skills. Mm-hmm. So a friend at the time asked me to write some web copy for her, and she was a budding entrepreneur at the time, and just suggested I just start a business, really. So it was like that, just start a business. She just said, just register a business name and start a business writing copy for other people's websites, because she knew I was blogging and stuff like that. So I thought, I guess, because I'm blogging about stuff, I guess it could qualify me to write copy for other people's websites. So about a year and a half later, Sassy WebWords was born, which was my old business name then. So I really did start out back then as a copywriter. Mm-hmm. And I really did this on the side though, because I was still working full time and I was doing a lot of work for free, and I had the odd client here and there. But then back then I also decided I wanted to become an expert on teaching people how to actually write for the web. Mm-hmm. So not only write the copy, but also talk about the usability and functionality aspects of websites as well. So along with my own blogging and some copywriting clients, I soon discovered that writing for the web actually has two audiences: search engines and people. And there began my love affair with SEO.
I love that. And you wrote a blog post about 2 or 3 months ago about why you should not hire you to do your SEO. And I absolutely loved that, because you talk about what your zone of genius is, what it is not, and you say that you're not the Walmart of SEO. And I love that, because you're so clear on what it is that you're good at and what you can do, and you don't even try to do the stuff that's not your zone of genius.
Exactly, and that's exactly why I wrote that post. So it's really a post about really telling people who my ideal client is, and the type of people that I want to work for, because I felt earlier on this year when I was opening up my coaching program, I was attracting some clients who weren't quite ideal. Mm-hmm. And especially, as you probably noticed with my website and with my copy, that I really focus on blogging in particular, like blogging for SEO and SEO blogging and stuff. And then I was getting people, once I signed up and paid up, that they didn't want to blog. And my coaching program is actually called Get Your Blog Read by Millions. So I wasn't sure which part of that they missed. So, it was a bit of a, hey, it was an attention-grabbing headline, a bit of a pat and interrupt, because you're normally not meant to say stuff like that. You're meant to say, "Hey, hire me."
Yeah.
But it was a very clear. I recommend anyone do that sort of thing, because it's a clear message to your audience who you want to work with and who you can't work for. So,
And I think that's something that a lot of times we don't fully understand when we first set up in business, and maybe even for the first few months or first year, but it's as you've been in business for a while, you really start to get even more clarity on who you want to work with and what you're great at and who you don't want to work with and what you really don't want to do.
Exactly, yes.
And how long did it take you? At what point in your business would you say you got that clarity?
It's an evolution, and I'm still getting that clarity now. I think for me, though, when I rebranded and relaunched my new website back in May of this year. Mm-hmm. So as I explained before, I used to be called Sassy Web Words, but then, I no longer wanted to write copy. I didn't want to be a copywriter anymore. So I had to change the name. People just assumed I was a copywriter. But also, not only that, I was also operating under a persona called Miss Sassy at the time. And I cringe every time. I look back now and I cringe at that. And I'll be honest, it took me an expensive mastermind last year for her to say, no, don't do that. Anyway, it worked it was cute at the time. And, some people, loved it. And so actually there were some people disappointed I gave it up and stuff. But anyway, I relaunched and rebranded under my own name. So now I'm building my own personal brand, ShaeBaxter.com. Mm-hmm. And I think, now that I'm really focused on SEO, I discovered my sweet spot as well, like what I don't want to do, who I want to work with, and particularly for women entrepreneurs and creatives. So I think then it's just gaining a lot of momentum since then. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I never really felt confident carrying with that persona anyway. Like I used to have business cards, and I still have them actually. I don't use them, but I still have them. And it says my name on there, but I had Miss Sassy underneath it. But I was just never confident pulling it off. Mm-hmm. And, I was kind of talked into it a few years ago by my friend at the time who, the budding entrepreneur, so, she read that, you could have a persona, it kind of makes you stand out and all this. And I thought, it would, but no, one of the best decisions I made was to just rebrand and just use my own name. And it feels much more authentic to me.
I love that. And I love how, so many times we'll work with a mentor or, get advice from people, and sometimes it doesn't quite sit right with us, but yet we'll try it out just because, you got to try stuff out in your business.
Exactly, yeah. And, it just feels so much better just being me, really.
I love that.
So, not that persona. I think, I'm sure personas can work for some people, depending what business you're in and stuff. But for me and my personality, it just didn't really fit.
Yeah. Well, and now as you get, as your business evolves and as you get clear what your zone of genius is, then it's so much easier to be authentic because you really know what it is that you're great at. And so now you say on your website that you're an SEO rock star, and I love that. And that kind of is a persona, but it feels so much more authentic.
Exactly, yeah, and it is my zone of genius, especially finding keywords and doing keyword research and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, and look, it does go beyond just SEO. It's a lot of it's to do with content marketing as well, and and blogging, like I said. But really, it's SEO is definitely not dead. It's definitely relevant, and it's my skill set.
So I'm very conscious of the fact that people have been talking about SEO for years and years and years, but there's still people who aren't quite clear what it is. So could you, in a nutshell, tell us what the heck is SEO?
Sure. So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. So it's an art and science of getting your websites ranked on Google. So look, this is how it works. So people are looking for information online, whatever, whether it's a question, whether it's stated or unstated, whatever. So people type a word or some words into Google to find what they're looking for. And Google's going to return what it considers to be the 10 best search results from a particular search. So in order to get ranked, you need to give Google some signals about your website. Now, I must say, look, SEO is a very broad topic. There's something like 200 ranking factors to come in, when it comes to SEO. And there's a lot of that we can't control, but there are things that we can control. Mm-hmm. And this is really what I focus on in my business with SEO. And the things you've got control of is the things that you can do to your website and with your content. Quite often you may have heard the phrase or the term before called on-page optimization. So it's the things that you do on your website. For example, finding what keywords your ideal clients are typing into Google and then using those keywords strategically on your website. Not to get too technical here, But, for example, putting them in your page title, making sure you're using or writing a meta description tag, you're optimizing your images, all the things you've got control of, because believe it or not, a lot of people don't do that stuff. And if you don't do that stuff, Google's going to decide for you what to display. So when you look at a search engine listing, like when you do a search on Google and you're looking at 10 results here, you're deciding subconsciously which one you're going to click on. And so are your customers or potential customers. Now, if you don't generate, like I said, if you don't create those page titles and meta description tags, which is what you actually see on the search engine listing, Google will decide for you what to display. But the thing is, you don't want them to do that, because if you're ranking for something, you need to make sure those keywords are in there. So the point is, yes, getting a ranking or being on page 1 is great, sure. Getting number 1 position, number 2 position is fantastic, but it doesn't actually mean you're going to get traffic from that, because you may have a really bad search engine ad that's, being listed here. So it doesn't. The point is that the real way to measure SEO is to actually make sure someone clicks through to your website. You could rank number 1 and still not get traffic. So you've just wasted a complete opportunity there. Yeah. And the thing is, you could be ranking lower. You'd be ranking on page 2, 3, or lower on page 1, but actually get more traffic because you've actually written a better search engine ad. So it's these sorts of things that I really focus on with my clients. And like I said before, working on your lower hanging fruit, which is the stuff that you can do to your website.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important, because as we were talking about earlier before we actually got on the call, we were talking about links as well. And yeah, it's great to get other sites to link to your website, but you don't have as much control about that, because of course you're asking someone, for the favor of linking back to your site. So
exactly, yeah. So if I can just explain a bit about that. So in theory, if there's 2 identical pages, Google's algorithm tries to judge the relevancy of a page by asking 2 questions. How many links point to a particular web page, and how authoritative are those links?
No, so if what that means then is that if another website that's Google considers to be important is linking to you, that's going to hold more importance than kind of a small new website.
Exactly. So if both pages have, say 10 links pointing to them, but one of those pages has links coming from, say you're a triathlon website or something, and you've got links coming from Runner's World or Ironman Triathlon, for example, that page is going to be deemed more authoritative than the other. So, a page with, for example, 10 high-quality links will often outrank a page with 100 low-quality links. So, in other words, Google's going to reward those sites that attract a higher number of incoming links to them. But like you said, and like I said before the call, getting backlinks is hard for anyone, especially for new sites.
Yeah.
But even websites that have been around for years don't always have a lot of backlinks to them either. And it is really hard to get a backlink from someone. That's why Google values links so much, and that's why people are willing to pay, thousands of dollars and hire SEO agencies to create those backlinks for them, because, like I said, they will generally reward you with higher rankings. But one of the things that I help people with is, for people who don't have that backlink profile, how can they still get ranked on Google when they're getting outranked from, by bigger brands and more authoritative bloggers and so forth? And so that's when it really comes down to finding keywords, specific keywords and phrases that your ideal clients are typing into Google that can actually send traffic to your website. And this is one of the things I specialize in. I provide keyword reports that people can order online, and I go through a process of filtering keywords and making sure they've got a certain amount of search volume with it, but also they don't have a lot of competition attached to them either. There's no point trying to create content around a key phrase that it's just never going to see the light of day in Google. And something like, for example, you'd be silly to ever try and rank for the term weight loss because it's just way too competitive. But not only that, there's something else that people forget in this process too, is the concept of what's called searcher intent. So why is someone searching for that word? Now, a word like weight loss, no one knows why. You don't really know why someone's searching for it. It doesn't necessarily mean someone is wanting to lose weight necessarily. They could be Googling that to find a weight loss calculator or a weight loss clinic or, a weight loss job or some weight loss articles or tips and so forth. But someone actually wanting to lose weight fast would probably Google something a bit more specific, like how do I lose weight in 30 days? Or how do I lose weight drinking green smoothies and so on. So these are it's actually phrases we're trying to optimize for, not a word as such. And it's these phrases that generally have a less competition, but you're more likely to attract better people or more qualified traffic to your website because these people have thought much more carefully about the sort of the information that they're looking for. You don't just randomly wake up and think, I'm just, in Google, how do I lose weight with green smoothies? It's someone with a very specific outcome in mind or a solution that they're looking for. So, when, online marketing and content marketing, these are sort of the types of phrases you should be blogging about to attract people to your website.
And I think it's really important what you said is that you really have to kind of get into the mind of your ideal clients and think about what they're going to be searching for.
Exactly. And forget, like SEO is, as I mentioned earlier, it can be a very complex topic and it's made out to be very complicated and, that you need to have some sort of tech background or genius, whatever. I can tell I'm the most non-technical person ever. But it really is, forget all the tactics and stuff like that, all this technology that comes with it. Like I said, it is a very evolved subject, but it really comes down to what are people searching for online, finding out what that is, and then create content around it.
Yeah, and I love that. In my social media course, one of the very first things we do in the first module is we talk about keywords, and I work with them to help them get clear on some of the basic keywords. But a lot of people really, really struggle to come up with the keywords for their business. And when I first discovered you online, I remember going back into my Facebook group for my course, and I was like, I found this woman, she's amazing, you must, check out her website, do her keyword report thing, because it's something that they really, really struggled with. And I was just like, you've got to know some basics so that you can at least, give this person that you're working with an idea of what it is that you want to rank for. But it's so important that there is help out there, with you and people like you who can really help you get clear on your keywords, because I really think that a lot of people have a lot of challenges with that.
No, definitely. And look, this is a big part of my why and why I do what I do, because, I love it, but I generally do want to help people, spread their message far and wide, using SEO amongst other things. So, and keywords are not dead. There's a bit of stuff out there, keywords are dead, all this. Certainly the way SEO is implemented has changed. Like, for example, you don't need to overuse your keyword in your page anymore. You don't want to repeat that word 10 times. Like, it's very obvious if you're trying to, rank for something. And those practices are long gone.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember what a keyword or I should really say a phrase. It's really a phrase we're trying to optimize for. There's simply words and phrases your ideal clients or your potential clients are actually searching for online. And if you wanted to do your own research, you can just pop onto the Google Keyword Planner tool, which is a free tool from Google. All you need is a Google account, which we all have to have anyway these days. You sign in, completely free, and you enter a topic and find out. Let the tool suggest to you what people are searching for. And the good thing is, it actually tells you the exact language that people are searching for specific information online. So it's definitely not dead. You need to know what people are searching for. And like I said, especially if you're a site that doesn't have a strong backlink profile, and that could take many years to build that, unless you're willing to invest a lot of time and money in doing it. But yeah, go for your lower hanging fruit. If you can't get the backlink profile, try and find keywords that's not as many other websites are using, so you get to rank for that instead. So.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I think a lot of people are tempted to go for the really competitive keywords when, you don't necessarily need to do that.
Exactly. Or they're not doing keyword research. Like, they're just guessing what they think people are searching for. Like, people use a lot of vague headlines as well. And you think, when I start coaching them, I'll say, well, what do you think Google would find from this? Like, what's the word in there that Google could pick up? And they realize, there's nothing. It's too vague. Yeah. So I actually think when you learn SEO and start applying it and start writing with it in mind, that can actually make you a better writer, because it does force you to be a little bit more specific in what you communicate, which is actually better for your reader anyway.
I totally agree. And this all goes back to what you said in the beginning about how writing for your website or your blog has two audiences. You can't just think of your ideal client or the person who's going to be reading your blog post. You really have to keep Google in mind as well.
You do. And look, having said that, though, the rule is, and even, any good SEO professional and copywriter will always recommend this, is always to write for your reader first and foremost. And one of the secrets to writing good SEO copy is to actually not write with SEO in mind as you write your content. Like, always write first.
Okay.
Don't like it's good to identify what phrase you want to optimize for, but I certainly don't encourage anyone to write with that phrase as they go along and write, because that's when they will find that their writing process might feel a little bit unnatural or not flow as well. The best thing to do is just write normally as you normally would without considering the search engines, and then only afterwards does the optimization and SEO come into play, which means then you spend 5 or 10 minutes reviewing your blog post and trying to find some opportunities to use your keyword where you may not have used it before. So you always want to write naturally anyway, and make it reader friendly, and then just go back and spend 10 minutes and then just do that tweaking and optimization, of your post or your page, whatever it is that you're working on.
Oh, I love that. That's very, very practical. Thank you. So what would you say are your top tips on how to make Google fall in love with your website or blog?
Sure. So look, like I said, I'm going to say it again, keyword research.
Yep.
Just jump on the Google Keyword Planner tool, like I said, enter a topic and let the tool tell you what people are searching for. And just to get a feel of how people are searching for online. Because like I said, it tells you, the exact language people are searching for. One of the other things definitely to get on board with is Google+. Because Google is definitely rewarding people that are active on Google+. And I've definitely noticed that in the last couple of weeks. People that are in my circles are getting on page 1. For certain things, keywords and stuff that I'm searching for. And the reason they're appearing on my page 1 is because they're in my circles. I've circled them, we've circled each other. And this is a big reason to use it, because like I said, Google's rewarding people that use it. And not only that, you're getting, and you probably know this too, but Google's now giving you your picture next to the search result. So you get your face next to the search result here. So like I was saying before, when you're faced with a list of top 10 search results, or a page of top 10 results, and you're the only one with a picture with your face, listed, I mean, people are naturally drawn to faces. So from a click-through perspective, people are likely to click through to your listing and read your Google Plus post. So, and yeah, like I probably don't need to explain this to you because you do social media, but if you and I are connected on Google Plus, like this is what's happening. I'm likely to see your content first because I'm not connected. And say hypothetically you and Coca-Cola or you and McDonald's were targeting the same keyword, I'm likely to see your stuff first because I'm connected with you on Google Plus and not McDonald's or Coca-Cola. So a lot of people are resistant to Google Plus. I find in my circles they feel it's just another tool to learn. And from a social networking perspective, I don't really, the jury's still out, but I do know from a search engine ranking perspective, it is definitely important. And I think it's only going to get bigger and much, much bigger.
Well, and especially since it's Google and they've really, really got it linked, as you said, to search results. And I think a lot of people don't realize how, when they're using Google to search for something, those search results are really personalized to them, as you said, depending on who they're connected with in Google Plus. And I'm not going to get the same search results as you will, or as, the guy down the street.
Exactly, yes. And that's again, one of the reasons why people should be starting to use Google Plus, because it's another part of their algorithm, I suppose, is that personalized search. So yes, I could Google the same one keyword and you could Google the same one and we can see slightly different search results. Yeah, and that's called personalized search. Another tip I was going to say is also to submit your website to what's called Google Webmaster Tools as well, which again, if no one knows what that is, just Google it. Again, you need to have a Google account to use it, but it's completely free. You just need to sign in. But what you should do is actually submit your website to Google Webmaster Tools. So when you log in, there's a add a site little box on the right-hand side, I think, that you just click on that. And there's just a few steps to follow. You just need to follow the prompts. But it's really good because it actually gives you a lot of information about the performance of your website. And especially now that, having said that, people still need to use Google Analytics and they should definitely install Google Analytics. But unfortunately, Google Analytics has taken away the ability for us to view what keywords were sending us traffic, which is very annoying.
Yes.
But Google Webmaster Tools will give us that information of all the keywords that send us traffic, but only from the last 90 days. So it's not, you can't see that all the keywords that have brought traffic to your website forever, but from the last 90 days you can. So that's definitely a big reason to, view Google Webmaster Tools. And it can also give you it can, send you some messages if you've got a penalty from Google and just some other information about your website too. It can really give you some good data. But most notably, to actually tell you what keywords are in fact sending you traffic, which because Google Analytics has taken that ability away. And finally, this is a really simple one, but a lot of people underestimate this, I suppose, is to make sure you interlink your content by internally linking to your other pages and posts. Just recently, I reduced my bounce rate by 5% by linking to my previous week's blog post under my most recent one. And just to quickly explain, like a bounce is when someone comes to your website for the first time. Well, not for the first time. Someone comes to your website, they view that page, but they don't technically click onto another page. Now, that person could have spent just an hour or 30 minutes on that one page, but because they've not clicked onto another page, they've bounced off your website, or that Google views it as a bounce. So out of all the metrics in Google Analytics, the bounce rate is the only one you actually want to reduce and keep the lowest. So internally linking to your content is a great way to help reduce that bounce rate, because you're always going to have new visitors coming to your website, and they're not going to be exposed to, or they're probably not going to bother digging through your old archives and older content. But if they land on your newest blog post and you've linked to a couple of articles that you may have written 12 months ago or 2 years ago or 6 months ago, say, then you're giving them an opportunity to stay on your website for longer and engage with your website more. So I definitely recommend internally linking. And it also just helps Google find information on your website, like index your website quicker and just know which pages are important on your website.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. I think that's all really, really practical advice. And that's all stuff, as you said, that we can do on our own websites rather than,
exactly.
relying on someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Once you know how to do it, you can do it yourself. But this is what I mean about your lower hanging fruit. Work on the things you've got direct control of, which is the type of stuff I've just said to you.
And for someone who considers himself to be not very techy, what do you think about getting on Google Webmaster Tools and Google Analytics and the keyword tool? Do you feel like people need to be really techy to use that, or is that something that's really easy to learn?
Look, I think it is easy to learn. Having said that, though, sometimes I probably take for granted that I've been using these tools for a while, and for some people it probably does seem technical to them. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't think, they're not technical. It's just that you need an account, you follow some prompts and you go from there. But I can understand to some people it may seem technical for the first time, but really, honestly, I'm definitely not a technical person. I don't know code. I don't know HTML. There's a lot of technical stuff about SEO I'm not completely aware of that I would outsource to people. So no, get Google Analytics, Google Webmaster Tools, and using the Keyword Planner tool. You can absolutely do that without being a tech head.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think that's really good to be reassuring about that, because a lot of the women that I work with, and I know a lot of the women who listen to this podcast, consider themselves to be a little technophobic. So I think that's good to remind them that, this isn't too hard to learn.
Not at all.
Yeah, good. So, Shae, can you tell us a little bit about how other women in business can benefit from working with you? Because you've got some really, really great offerings, and you've also got the SEO Express, which is a limited thing that you've got going on now.
Yeah, I do. It's just a limited offer until mid-October, which I'm offering at the moment. Just the reason I'm offering that, I do have more longer-term coaching, obviously at a higher price point, but I decided to experiment with an offering that's a bit shorter, just for people who just want some quick results and answers and just some short-term support. So it's been going really well.
So what do people get when they sign up for the SEO Express?
Sure. So we actually spend 2 hours on Skype together. Followed by a week's email support from me. Okay. So from that, I will actually optimize a couple of their pages, which means I'll actually write them some page titles and meta descriptions for some of their static pages, especially their product pages or their money pages, that I like to call them. I'll also optimize a blog post of their choice as well. And it's just whatever questions they have. If they wanted to tutorial on Google Analytics, if they wanted to tutorial on keyword research, if they wanted to, whatever, how to optimize a blog post, anything. It's entirely up to them. What are their burning questions? And I'll try and fix whatever problems that they're having.
You also do the one-to-one SEO coaching, which is kind of a longer-term learning process, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It goes for around 6 weeks, although I'm coming out with a longer one, actually, which is I've only just released last week to my email list. Completely new. But at the moment, I've got what's called Get Your Blog Read by Millions. So it's SEO Express, but in much more detail, and you've got much more support. Like you've got completely unlimited email support for the whole 6 weeks. And yeah, it's just up to you what you want to get out of that. Excellent. So we do everything from Google Plus, especially keyword research. I really help people find their own keywords because it's actually not that hard to do once they know how. Yeah, everything. And then also I do sell keyword reports as well. So I've got a couple of packages for those, depending on how many keywords they want. But the good thing is, and this they've been really popular, and I think the reason is because I'm not just giving them a keyword dump, like here's some keywords, now, what do you do now? I actually turn those keywords, I actually find the best keywords for their niche or their industry, but I turn those keywords into blog headlines for them. So I'm trying to demonstrate to people, yep, here's a keyword and here's how you can optimize for it. So, you can be as the thing is, you can still be creative. Like SEO doesn't need to stifle your creativity or your authenticity, which a lot of people tend to believe, especially creatives anyway. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you can use a particular word or phrase that someone's searching for online and then turn that into a really creative or well-written headline. So, they've been really fantastic. And in one of those packages, I do also give some tips on how to use keywords throughout the rest of their blog post as well. So, yeah.
Excellent. And I feel like I have to add my 2 cents here on your keyword report.
Sure.
Because as you know, I ordered that several months ago, and I just want to say that I absolutely love it. For anyone who might be thinking, what the heck are keywords? I don't even want to bother with this Google keyword tool. This is absolutely amazing. I printed it out. I put it in this little binder. It's fabulous. I've got 50 custom blog post headlines, and all I have to do is just go through, pick them out, and choose one to work on. I absolutely love it. And when on my social media course, I always tell people to keep a notebook of ideas for blog posts. And I feel like this has kind of replaced my notebook of blog post ideas, because all I have to do is just go to my little folder, you flip through it, and just pick one and write on it. And I just absolutely, absolutely love it. So
that's good.
Had to add my 2 cents in.
Yeah. Music to my ears. Thank you. Yeah. There's a couple of benefits in there, I suppose. One is, for one, people just do get short on content ideas, full stop. Mm-hmm. Like they just think, what do I blog about? So for one, I think it's solving that particular problem. Mm-hmm. But not only that, these blog posts have keywords in them, like keywords that you actually have a chance of actually ranking for and getting traffic to your website. They're just not made up keywords. They're validated, they're thoroughly researched and so forth. So, no, I've been getting some great results. I've heard, other people telling me their page views have increased, their opt-ins have increased and stuff because, they're specific chosen keywords for their niche. So, it's fantastic.
Excellent. Yes. So, Shae, do you have any women business mentors, or are there any women in business who inspire you?
Yeah, look, there's quite a few. First of all, I must acknowledge my first mentor. Her name is Melinda Sampson, and she's an Australian-based Google AdWords expert. And she's one of the first people that I looked up and reached out to when I first started blogging and started in the online space. And she taught me a lot about SEO and content marketing. And she's been fantastic. And we're still friends today. Like, I'm actually one of her web peeps for one of her, what's called Grassroots Internet Strategy, for one of her blogs. So she's definitely been a mentor to me. Of course, there's Marie Forleo. I love Marie. Yeah, who doesn't love Marie? But there's other people, perhaps a little bit less well known, but other people like, Julie Parker, Kylie Patchett. I'm actually in Kylie Patchett's mastermind at the minute. Denise Duffield-Thomas from Lucky Bitch. I love her stuff. There's a few women I must have recognized, Angela Rasmus, Zoe Richards, but also Susan Cain from the Introvert Quiet book as well, who, because like I said before, I'm a classic introvert, and that book just opened my eyes about why I'm an introvert, but it's actually okay. Like, so explain some of my behavior and stuff like that. Kat LeBlanc, she's got a great website. Camille Thurner, who's a really awesome dating coach. She's doing a lot of good stuff online. Aline Scott, Rachel McDonald from In Space Between. I love Tanya Lee. She has that French website, Life Coach. I think she's awesome. I love her content. And also Selena Sue. I think she's fantastic as well. She's, connected to Marie and those sorts of people too. But, she's really big on networking and growing your reach and getting more exposure online. So there's probably heaps more people I haven't mentioned. But, I guess for me it's not just the big names. Like I said, I love Marie, and she's probably one of the first people that's really big on online that I discovered, but there's plenty more out there as well. So
yeah, I agree. So Shae, where can people find you online and learn a little bit more about what you have to offer?
Sure. So I'm at www.shaebaxter.com. I should say ShaeBaxter. My first name gets misspelt a lot. Yeah, they can come to me. I've got a great website. If people wish to hear from me on a more regular basis and sign up, I do have a fantastic, giveaway called How to Create Google-Friendly Blog Posts Your Readers Will Love in Under 5 Minutes. And I completely spell out how to optimize a blog post for you. So yeah, that's where people can find me and find everything they need to know.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. And remember to visit sociallyholistic.com/SHP65 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Socially Holistic Podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. Please help us help more women in business by giving us a 5-star review of this podcast. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more successful businesses there will be. So please leave a 5-star review today over at iTunes. Thank you.